Welcome to the second ever GENY METS Podcast. And Yellow Piro here and Josh Einbinder. Let's just dig into it right here. Carlos Gomez, the deal was done. The deal is not done. Thoughts on it?
So basically, I was under the impression, and a bunch of other Mets fans were under the impression, that the Mets had acquired Carlos Gomez in exchange for Zach Wheeler and Wilmer Flores, according to Joel Sherman, who was the first person to break it. And then after Joel Sherman broke the news, Adam Rubin confirmed, Ken Rosenthal confirmed, and basically all the verified Twitter users that we rely on for our information confirmed that the deal was done, pending a physical.
And now, we're seeing that, now that they confirmed it, but now they're saying that the Mets opted out of it. At first, the Brewers were the team that they said they opted out because of Zach Wheeler's medical records, but now it's the Mets claiming it was because of Carlos Gomez's hip and groin.
Exactly, and it's just it was a horrible 6-7 hour span last night for Met fans. Met fans were rejoicing left and right, and it's really sad just to see what the social media has brought this to. And I don't blame TC or Sandy Alderson for making the move. I looked it up. Gomez has been hitting 240 since coming. He never went to the DL, but since he was diagnosed or was hurt with a hip or groin injury. So I don't blame him. I mean, he's hitting 240 with 7 stolen bases, and the prior years he's been hitting close to 300 or over 300 with more than 20 stolen bases. So obvious red flags for Sandy Alderson there. So I'm not too mad that he pulled out of the trade. But, again, the Mets need to get on it and make another trade.
I mean, obviously, we do need to make another trade, and, Cargo maybe cost way too much, and Cargo on the Colorado Rockies or Yoenis Cespedes. Do you really want a 2-month rental for Cespedes? And in Cargo, you never know what you're getting with him if he's going to be injury-prone over here. Thoughts on potential trade, maybe?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there isn't really, as far as social media right now, we don't know what the Mets are going to do. We know they have basically a day to go make a move. And the two most likely candidates right now to make a big move to make Mets fans happy would be either Cespedes or Cargo. There isn't too much news on that, but personally, I would prefer a Cargo, bringing in a Cargo. He's under team control for the rest of this year and 2 more years, and becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2018. He'd be a very solid move. I believe Cargo is a more diverse player than Gomez is at the plate. So I think if the Mets were to acquire Cargo, it would be a better move all the way around for the Mets. It's just Colorado is reluctant to give up Cargo for what the Mets want to offer. So I don't know about that, but I do think Cargo right now would be the best fit. And as far as Cespedes, I've personally always been high on Cespedes, but they haven't really had too much connection with him. Although he'd be a 2-month rental, I also think he would like it in New York, considering it'd be an NL. He hit God knows how many home runs in the home run derby down in City, so I think Cespedes would be a great fit, although there is no connection to him right now.
And we also have to keep in mind here that this kind of embarrassed the Mets fan base and the Mets organization, this whole deal. I mean, when Sandy said this deal will not happen, I think all of the fans, were shocked, and this is an embarrassment to us. It makes us look, like we're not serious about winning.
Yeah, and that's when the confusion set in when, the trade was confirmed by Joel Sherman that Flores was going in the game. And, Flores, the way he finds out, he starts crying on the field. You can't blame the guy. I mean, he's been in the Mets organization since he was 16 years old. It's all he's ever known. I don't blame him for getting a little emotional out there. And then Terry Collins has no knowledge of a trade at all. And, then fireworks just go all over the place, and Terry Collins is upset, Flores is upset, no one knows where Wheeler is. It was just a very bad breakdown on part of communication with Sandy Alderson and the Mets organization to the Mets players, and social media jumping the gun and confirming a trade that was never even confirmed.
And what disappoints me a little bit even more is that with Sandy saying there's no trade, he has not even mentioned that there's another trade in the works right now or a possibility. And I'm just hoping we can maybe acquire another bat, whether it's Will Venable or a guy like Upton or Cespedes or Cargo, because I think that could still help the lineup. Now I'm looking at Carlos Gomez's stats. Through 74 games, he's got 286 at-bats, and he's got 75 hits. Obviously, that doesn't account to such a great season. He struck out 70 times. But, he'd still helped this lineup tremendously. And do you think there's a chance that a deal could be, they could come together for another deal and maybe recheck the medical records or something like that so we could come to another deal with the Brewers? And we also have to remember, too, another deal with the Brewers, the Parra deal, fell apart as well on Thursday, and that's ultimately why we called up Conforto.
Exactly. And I personally don't see a deal being reached for Gomez. it seems very clear that the reason that they backed out of the trade was because of Gomez. And I think unless Milwaukee drops their asking price, there's no way you're going to see a reunion with Gomez. Although it would be nice, I just don't see it. And as far as Alderson's confirmed, he's got to make a deal. I don't care who it is, what it is. If he comes out of this trade deadline acquiring Uribe, Johnson, and Clifford, the complementary pieces, and doesn't acquire the main piece, he will get ripped apart by the fan base, by the New York media, by everyone.
Yeah.
He needs to make a move. The Mets, I believe, the Mets are 52-49 playing the Padres, and then they have the Nationals this weekend. They need to get it back. They need to win 2 out of 3 at least from the Nationals. And if he doesn't go out there and make a big move, it's going to be a disappointing rest of the season. I can tell you that.
Agree 100%. Let's move on for a second. We got the Mets and Padres today, but obviously yesterday, something that kind of went under the radar. Lucas Duda, 3 homers. This is now the second time in 1 month that a player's had 3 homers at home for the Mets, and that had never happened before. Kirk Neuenhuis did it earlier this month. Do you think Lucas is starting to heat up?
Oh, definitely. I don't know the exact number, but he's been hitting home runs left and right, Duda. He's been on fire this week, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be safe to say he's going to win Player of the Week in the NL. And I think it's a great thing to see. And it just shows you that if the Mets do acquire that bat, how much more protection he'll get in the lineup and how much more he'll improve and produce on the field. It's kind of sad that flew under the radar considering all the fiasco that happened yesterday. Dude is a solid player when he gets it going. And I think it's awesome. It's just kind of, baseball's just a weird sport. Neuenhuis does it earlier this month, and then Duda does it again. So, it's a weird sport, but I'm really happy for Duda. I hope he's turning it on, and best of luck to him and the Mets.
Well, here's the Mets' upcoming schedule. After this Padres series, they start 3 games with the Nationals, and then on Monday, August 3rd, they'll have a 3-game set with the Marlins. That's a must-win series there. Then on August 7th, we go to Tampa Bay to play the Rays. That's also a must-win there. And then the Rockies come to town. So that's going to be pretty much a breeze of a series. But then you got the Pirates, so we got to focus down on that. The Orioles, then the Rockies back on the road, the Phillies, the Red Sox, and the Phillies again. So we have a relatively easy schedule in August. We must have a winning record for August.
Oh, there is no doubt that they have a winning record. Those teams like the Rockies, the Rays, the teams that aren't as competitive, they need to take 2 out of 3 or sweep those series. Those are the games that you need to bolster your win. That you need to bolster up your win column. If the Mets come out 500 during that stretch during August, or barely with 1 win over, it's going to be very sad. They need to dominate the month of August and get back in the playoff race, and continue to pursue for the playoffs, because the schedule is in their favor. And there's no doubt if they don't compete and if they don't produce and they don't win in August, they're screwed for the rest of the year. And I think it's going to be really sad if they don't acquire that bat to help them get there.
Oh yeah, and would you say Travis d'Arnaud, if Sandy doesn't make a move, do you think his excuse would be Travis is back tomorrow and he's going to be our bat? I mean, that is like making a trade, but not really. We're not going to see him for a full week. Plawecki's going to kind of platoon with him at catcher for the rest of the season.
Yeah, well, the rumor is that d'Arnaud's with the team today against the Padres, but he will not be activated until tomorrow. So you most likely will see Travis back with that Washington series, but they're going to ease him back in slowly. They don't want him hurting himself again, which means Plawecki stays. But with that said, Plawecki hasn't been all that impressive. He's hitting like 238, and he really isn't providing much pop in the lineup. So you want Travis d'Arnaud back ASAP, but you don't want to hurt him. So I guess in a sense, it's like adding that bat back, but you don't know how Travis will perform. I mean, you saw him last year in the beginning of the year. He was god-awful, came back up, tore it up. You don't know which Travis d'Arnaud you're going to get. Hopefully it's the one that tears it up in the big league, but you just don't know, which is another reason the Mets need to go acquire that bat.
And my thing is, though, Travis needs to stay healthy for the rest of the season, especially if we're going to make a playoff push. We can't have him getting in the way of maybe home plate collisions like we saw in Atlanta, which was the play where he got the hyperextended elbow. He needs to be a little conservative here and just be careful with his body, because he's gotten injured a lot in the past. He's had a couple DL stints in his young career already, and we need him healthy for a potential October run.
Exactly, and they need to keep him healthy. The Mets need to keep healthy if they want to win these games, so it's going to be important for that.
Oh yeah. All right, that'll wrap it up. GENY METS Podcast number 2. Tell us what you think. Like it. Subscribe.